everyone to the Beard Man and the Young Non-Virgin. We are the new part of the Slasher Club. We will be your host tonight. Nah, I'm kidding. I want to go for a bit of a bi-curious and the Virgin move.
That's very prominent in the Scream TV series.
Which is why we're doing it tonight. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Scream Season 1 of 2015. The first horror movie I've heard of that's actually done a TV show just like its predecessor. And Cameron?
Yes, so Scream follows a completely different set of characters. It's its own universe so far. It is not connected to the events in Woodsboro. We follow a group in high school that are being stalked by a killer or killers, as is the case in the Scream franchise. The difference being that this killer is very reminiscent, very similar to a killer that targeted Lakewood many years ago, named Brandon James. That's the general gist of the general synopsis of Scream Season 1 is you have a group of kids coming together after a viral video leaks online that basically torments a young couple, and then it leads to murder and more secrets coming forth. And it's, that's about it. I have some commentary on the show, obviously, but we'll get to that later.
Right, and funny story, I live near a town called Lakewood.
Me too. Yeah, I think Lakewood is a generic name for a city. I'm sure there's Lakewoods all over the place.
Right. Scream again came out 2015. I watched it with my mother, so it was a big thing between me and her. Like a lot of other horror movie reviewers, like Cody Litch, who I believe said he'd watch Christine with his father. This was my Christine with my mother. But back to the facts. It was developed by Jill Blotovago, Dan Dworkin, or Dworskin, for some reason I can't read my handwriting right now, and Jay Beatty. Composer is Jerry Zuckerman. Main executive producers are Harvey Weinstein, and Bob Weinstein, aka the Weinstein Brothers, which you've probably heard of. And Wes Craven, which again, this was the last thing he produced before he died in 2015. Producers are Matthew Signer, and Keith Levine. It was filmed in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. That's all I could get on this because the Wikipedia couldn't really give much information. Willa Fitzgerald is Emma Duvall. Bex Taylor Kloss is Audrey Jensen. John Karma is Noah Foster. Medes Surfine is Kieran Wilcox. Connor Well is Will Belmont. Carlson Young is Brooke Maddox. Jason Wiles is Clark Hudson. Tracy Middendorf is Megan Duvall. Mike Vaughn is the killer's voice. Amelia Rose Blair is Piper Shaw. God, I am going to kill this paper.
Kill it!
God, I swear I had more. But on to the kill count.
Yeah, alright. Starting from the top, we have 2 throats. Oh, actually, okay, let me start over. From the top, we have 3 flashback kills. We have 2 throat slits. We have 1 decapitation. We have 1 hanging. 1 artery slashed. 1 split by tractor saw. 1 death by multiple stabbing. 1 person gutted. And then lastly, 1 headshot for a total of 12 deaths/kills.
Right, and now on to the favorites. Mine, surprisingly, and this was the most inventive kill I know of on this show, is Will Belmont gets split by trencher saw.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely brutal. In comparison to anything that's happened in the Scream franchise, this is the most brutal kill.
and plus, it was kind of foreshadowed because we literally see Will using it in one of the earlier episodes, unlike now where, funny thing is, I guess you could say it was kind of a saw trap.
Yeah.
Very not so well put saw trap, but still, Emma was literally the cause of his death.
Yeah, I don't think we've ever I don't think any time in the films was Sydney like the reason somebody. I mean, she didn't. She didn't move the events forward. She didn't trigger any traps that caused somebody to be killed. Most of the time, people were killed because they were in her life, in her proximity. So, yes, this is also something new.
Right, and the funny part is this is kind of a theme in this series. And we'll explain that after. And what about you?
Favorite kill? I mean, yes, obviously, Will's death is the most brutal, and also the most creative. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on that one.
Wow, the first time we've actually agreed on a kill. And
Awesome.
Least favorite kill? I mean, come on, you guys gotta know this. You know how I don't like cheap kills or off-screen kills, but Tyler gets decapitated. I mean, all we literally see is his head get thrown into the hot tub with Nina, and just, wow, are you serious? That's the best you could do? I mean, this is the first episode of the series, and all you do is cut a guy's head off in the first few minutes and just throw it into the hot tub. I mean, at least let us...
I thought it was pretty clever. The whole heads up and then the head in the pool, and then it got her freaked out, so she wasn't thinking clearly, so Nina was running around. I thought it was clever, so...
I mean, yeah, it is clever, but in a kill sense, at least let us see it before you throw his head into the hot tub. I mean, again, we both agree, off-screen kills, that's what kind of ruins the horror genre.
Yeah. Fair enough, yeah.
What, do you have,
I was just gonna... I mean, yes, I agree with you that for the most part, off-screen kills are a buzzkill. They're not fun, They make the show. They make they slow things down, and you want to keep things intense. But I think for this episode, for what it was, it worked. And as long as these types of things are used sparingly, I think it's okay. Like, if all the kills were off-screen kills and then we found the bodies, that would make for a very frustrating show or a film. So they're trying to keep a quick pace to the intro, and so I think it works. I think that it works for the intro. So
Okay. Now I guess we're going into the facts. The story was great. I mean, me and my mother, we were kept on asking at the beginning of, or at the end of each episode, who do you think the killer is? Could it be this one? Could it be this one? I mean, it just kept us guessing, even until the end. I mean, even now, watching it for the second time in years, it literally still stumped me. Especially how they kept on playing.
Go ahead.
No, I'm done.
I really liked it the first time I saw it, and I started to notice a few things that I didn't like this time around. And the main one being, I don't like Emma as the main character. I just think that she was she's no Sidney Prescott in any regard. I think Audrey should have been the main character. I mean, the opening tragedy follows her. The tragedy that, when we go into Scream, the first film, Sydney has already lost her mother. And in this, Audrey has already been, had her public life partially, traumatized by her secret being let out like that, just being shotgunned across the internet. Plus, she was very strong throughout. She never was like, oh, I'm the victim. She never complained. I just felt Audrey was, and even when we go into season 2, which we'll talk about more in our next video, she's just a stronger character. Whereas in the very first episode, when drama starts, Emma walks out. Like, if you remember, they have everybody grouped together because they're going to interview every kid. And I forgot the character's name, but he mentions Brandon James. All he says is Brandon James's name, and that's enough to get Emma to walk out of the room. That, to me, that shows a weakness in her, that she's not as morally strong for a main protagonist. So
well, I can't really agree with you, because if you watch the whole series, she actually grows as a main protagonist as soon as she finds out what's going on, why the killer's after her, and what her family actually has to do with it.
I didn't notice any sort of growth on her part. But, hey, that's just me. Again, I felt Audrey was the one that grew, the one that was more interesting to watch, to see her develop. I just didn't see Emma as a very strong character. She was constantly not trusting the people around her. And I understand that, the more secrets that come out, it makes things difficult, but she was very easy to... she was quick to turn against people. She was quick to believe any sort of information that came out. She did not have a lot of faith in her friends. So.
She didn't believe Kieran was the killer at first. Even when Audrey presented the evidence.
Yeah. It's okay. It's all right. We disagree. But, my argument is I think Audrey should have been the main character. It would have made for a more compelling story. I just found her a more interesting character.
And tell me, is this the first time you've seen this series?
No, I saw it when it originally aired back in 2015. and I watched every episode and I enjoyed it. But I felt like something was missing, and I couldn't catch what it was while I was watching it. And then as we reviewed it after, watching the films back to back and then going straight into the series, it's you can compare and contrast it more readily. And I saw that there are some things missing from the series that had. So.
Well, if you haven't seen second season, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
I have seen the second season, but I'll save my comments on that for the next video. But I may have criticisms over the first season, but I still think it's a very solid adaptation to the film, or it pays tribute to the film in a decent way. And it makes, the first season is very well done. The way that each mystery ties into the kills and making sure that each character is interesting, it is done very well. I just would have changed the writing a little bit. I would have, adjusted who more screen time over the others. For since I didn't really like Brooke. She does grow. Her character does become more interesting, especially in season 2. But in season, I would have spent more time, again, on 3. I liked Will. The fact that he got killed off, that hurt me, but that's good because that's what a show they were trying to do. They're trying to, sucker punch you. I really wanted Will to be redeemed, because he seemed like an honest character. Like he was really trying to do what's right. He did some bad things in the past, but he was trying to do the right thing. He was trying to get his girlfriend back, and he lost. But I liked Will, so it's unfortunate that he got killed off so soon. But I liked him, and I liked Audrey, and then yeah.
Right. So don't forget to comment in the comment section which one you decide. Are you on my side with Emma, or are you on Cameron's side with Audrey? But on to the facts. More facts. New mask, new killer, and
yes,
a new weapon. Instead of the usual knife, we get a Bowie knife.
Oh, I didn't notice that. That's a very good catch.
Yep, and honestly, again, this next fact is going to contradict you. I seriously felt Emma was the new Sydney.
Alright, do you have some reasoning behind that?
Again, I just felt she was the more interesting character. Again, she has development, and the story develops around her more and more as we find out her mother was Brendan James's, I guess could say, kind of girlfriend in a way. She was also the mother of his child, which she gave away. Oh, and spoilers alert. And her friendship with Audrey grows a little more, and she even that's basically it for me.
She what?
That's it for me.
Alright.
It was inspired by the Shelley Eddy case. I technically forgot to look that up. I've never heard of the Shelley Eddy case.
Neither have I. No, yeah, I have not. So
Piper, I feel, is the Gale, but with a twist.
Yeah. Piper, as a killer, had, obviously it's never a good idea to be a killer, but her motivations were interesting. It was believable that she was the killer. She made for a fascinating, bad guy. She was a good bad guy. So
Right, especially the ending twist. We literally could not. Seriously, I couldn't tell she was the killer until the end.
yeah,
And then we find out she's actually Brandon James's sister. Daughter and Emma's half sister.
yeah.
It always kept the show interesting and the audience wondering. It was dedicated to Wes Craven. If you guys saw the dedication at the end of episode... Was it at the end of episode 10?
Yeah, the season finale, I believe they had a, in memory of, I believe.
Wes Craven, right. And honestly, I'm surprised. I didn't know he was born in 1939.
Wow, yeah, he was getting up there before he passed. He'd been in film since what, the late the early 70s. In a previous review we had talked about, the number of times. I think it was our first Scream review. The number of times that Wes Craven has had to reinvent himself in film. He started off doing exploitation films like Last House on the Left, and then he changed himself to a more mainstream psychological. Did slasher films like Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he once again reinvented himself for the '90s by putting out a horror comedy quadrilogy, the Scream films.
Right, but seriously, that really got me off. I did not know I'd say he was a lot older than my great-grandmother. And she's still kicking. I believe she was born in the 40s.
Well, tell her to stop. What if she hurt somebody?
Okay, still with the bad jokes. Oh,
hey,
and...
one of these days, I'll get you to laugh.
Nope.
I'll get you to laugh
Nope.
so hard you'll roll out of your seat.
And the soundtrack, it was smart, and it worked perfectly with each episode. Especially the ending one. Quiet Day. Literally shoving it in our face.
Oh, but Slasher, dude, it was pop music. I thought that we don't, allow pop music in these things.
Unless it works with the movie. Or the show.
Are you trying to say that the music didn't fit for Scream 4?
It didn't.
Oh, boy. We're going to have a Scream 5, and it's taking place in whatever town Slasher dude lives in. Be on the lookout for that, folks. And my motivation, shoot. Dang, great, now everyone knows the killer is in Scream 5. It's ruined now, never mind.
And I doubt anyone's gonna come attack me in Lakehurst, New Jersey. No one's dumb enough to attack here except for the Hindenburg.
Yeah. No, but, okay, so the show, the first season's really solid, but do you have any, negatives, anything that you didn't like about the season or even a particular episode?
I didn't like that the sheriff was killed. Yeah, technically it was a side of... to show us that everyone that's around Emma could cause someone's death or could screw something up, like her mother killing the sheriff, not knowing that his guts were spilling out, but yeah, I wish they'd at least let the killer live longer. The sheriff live longer.
Yeah, that's ultimately, okay, so obviously I have complaints about who the main character is, but also it is missing a bit of the charm from the original films. We had, a lighthearted character in Deputy Dewey, and we also had Randy, and we do have a Randy-like character in this, but we don't have a Dewey character in this season or in this show, and so there are light elements in the Scream TV show, but not enough, in my opinion. And I blame MTV more than anybody else, because MTV is really not known for, it's just, yeah, there wasn't enough humor, and it would have been nice to add a little bit of humor.
And a huge negative for me. They didn't have enough of Knife Stick.
What do you mean?
I mean, we only see Knife Stick for one episode.
Oh, yeah, there's not enough, stabbing.
You don't get it, do you, right?
Huh?
Knife Stick. Oh, my God. Noah's weapon?
Oh, in the last episode.
Nope. In the episode where we find out that the hospital was Brandon James's hideout.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. That was the bowling alley episode that we meet Knife Stick.
That was a good episode.
It was, and sadly we lost Knife Stick to the killer.
Yeah. Piper's not happy, is not content to take lives, but also to take tools.
Long live Knife Stick. But, I mean, you say you're kind of sad about the Dewey part, but at least we got the famous team of Bi-Curious and the Virgin. The man that works in a video game store, and the girl known for her great movies.
See, Audrey being the Virgin and Bi-Curious, that also leads to her being a better final girl, because Emma was definitely not a virgin. She was very well committed to Will. Then we also know she sleeps with Kieran later on. I know that the rules have changed, but, you can never argue with the classic final girl, final guy starts off as a virgin.
But how do we know Audrey's a virgin? I mean, again, she's supposed to be the bi-curious part of it. So how do we know? She could have slept with Rachel.
Maybe. I don't know. It seemed like their relationship was fairly new prior. I mean, like they'd only been together for a short while. I don't know. That's a good. You brought up a good point. Maybe they slept together. I don't know.
But in that sense, wouldn't Noah be a better final guy?
That would be interesting to shake things up in the Scream series and have a guy be the main character, but no, he is relegated to the Randy character, and it's interesting that he survives the whole show. So,
and fun part is, he's way more than a Randy. I mean, he's literally the huge tech guy of the movie. I mean, we never see Randy track phones or deal with malware.
I just hate what happens to Noah. We're both familiar with the series, and he gets two hot chicks in the show, and they both get killed, and it's like, come on, seriously gonna do that to Noah?
Well, it was technically Emma's fault for saying the nice girl.
again, going to my criticism of Brooke as not being that interesting of a character in season one, she really doesn't suffer that much. I get the whole fact about her family drama, but I mean, she gets through season one fairly unscathed.
You forget, she was locked in a freezer.
Ooh, she had to chill out for a little while.
And almost stabbed multiple times. She's a lot of scars on her body throughout the series.
Well, she's probably going to get scars anyway for all the plastic surgery she did. Sorry, obviously you can tell I'm not a fan of Brooke in season one. I like her character a little bit more in season two. She becomes a little bit more of a real person, so...
I can agree with that. But again, you gotta love the original season.
Yeah.
Never
F with the original.
And I think I found a few references in there, like... Really, you've got a landline? What is this, 1996?
Oh, when the first film came out.
Right, and... There was one other one. I can't remember what it was. Oh! Brooke goes into the garage. Who does that remind you of?
Oh, Tatum.
And?
The girl from Scream 4.
Yes!
I forgot her name.
Yes!
Jenny, I think.
You are correct, and wow. I mean, you gotta admit, this show was good with their references. Can't remember many of them. I mean, we do have something that Scream 4 finally gave us that none of the others had. Brooke's bra scene.
Yeah. Oh, and we see Brooke in lingerie in this, in season one.
Yeah, I mean, very reminiscent of the fourth movie.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you guys agree with me, comment down in the section, and maybe we can have a conversation, or come to our Discord server. It will be in the description, and again, you can come have a conversation with me and maybe Cameron if he ever gets Discord.
Yeah. Maybe. One of these days.
Oh, and this show is technically brought to you by Showbox, which helped both me and Cameron watch this show because I don't have Netflix and...
Wouldn't you like to know? Oh. Maybe I'll let that secret linger in our audience's mind. Does Cameron have Netflix? Find out in the next video. Not that anyone really cares, but hey, a little bit of mystery never hurt.
But there is also the problem that Showbox stopped working with the Scream series as soon as I hit the 8th episode today. I mean, yeah, I was binging a lot today because work has really been a pain for me.
Yeah, nope. Work can be
Yeah. Any other characters we can analyze? I mean, we analyzed Noah, we analyzed Audrey, we analyzed Emma.
I think, like I said, I really liked Will, and I felt it was unfortunate that he got killed off so quickly. You know, I felt like he was one of those characters that was a good person who had done wrong, that was trying to redeem themselves. But I understood why. In the context of not only in season 1 but in season 2, why Will had to die. I mean, Will had to die for Kieran to cement his place as Emma's boyfriend, so,
and plus,
new love interest. So.
You also remember he was connected to Nina. He slept with Nina in season 1.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure he slept with a lot of other girls, but Kieran, I mean, look at him. He was a way better boyfriend. He actually was around more to protect her. And then we learn, yes, he met with Nina, but that was before he went to school, before he met Emma, and he actually turned out to be a stand-up guy, taking her home and not doing anything. I mean, most guys would just hit that. But
yeah.
Kieran, wow. Huge turn for a guy that we assumed is the killer, which maybe he is. Maybe he isn't. We may not find out until next week.
Yes. On the next episode of Slasher Club.
And, you know what? I think I actually liked this series more than the movies, but...
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Be careful what you're saying there. That sounds almost blasphemous.
I'm putting it a 9.4.
Okay. For season 1, this is just a generational thing. You know, I like the films more. Okay, you know what? I will give season 1 an 8.
Yeah, let's cement it as that. For now, since, yeah, it had its ups and downs, but it was still a pretty good series.
Yeah.
So, next week, guys, we'll be talking about Season 2. We'll be seeing you next week. And don't forget to comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Like this video. Check out our social media, which will be put down in the description. And check out Cameron's many, many speeches on our postings, which I do have to change around every time I post it myself. But, any final words, Cameron?
I'm literally melting due to the heat. And that's my final thought. I'm trying to keep myself together, like, on a molecular level.
Maybe you should go hide in a freezer.
I should, you know, yeah.
That doesn't count as you making me laugh. That was me making myself laugh.
That's fair. Hey, we got one more season to get through, and you know, and a lot more videos to come.
Still never gonna make me laugh, but don't forget, guys. This has been Beardman and the Dark Shadow. We'll see you guys next week. Good night.